What if the most powerful stories of Irish rebellion are not found in the dusty pages of history books? What if they are not confined to grand speeches or stone monuments that stand silent in our town squares? Imagine for a moment that the truest, most visceral chronicles of Ireland's long and often painful struggle for freedom are hidden away in something far more personal, something that could be carried in the heart and on the lips. These stories live in the melodies of forgotten songs, passed down through generations in hushed tones, their lyrics carrying the weight of defiance, sorrow, and an unbreakable hope. These are the lost rebel ballads, a secret history of a nation set to music. These were never just simple tunes for a quiet evening. They were anthems of defiance, crafted to stir the soul and awaken a spirit of resistance when all other forms of expression were crushed. Imagine the scene: a small dimly lit pub in the back streets of Dublin or a remote cottage in the hills of West Cork. A lone voice rises, weaving a tale of a fallen hero or a recent skirmish. The music swells, and with it, the courage of those gathered. These songs were a call to arms, a reminder of what was being fought for. They gave people the strength to face down an empire, armed with little more than conviction and a melody that spoke of a better, freer day to come. For every well-known song like The Foggy Dew or A Nation, once again, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of others that have faded from our collective memory. They were deliberately suppressed, their singers and writers often targeted by authorities who understood the power these songs held. The Crown knew that a ballad could be more dangerous than a smuggled rifle. It could unite communities, spread news of rebellion faster than any newspaper, and immortalize martyrs, turning them into legends. The forgetting of these songs was not an accident. It was a strategy to erase a part of the Irish identity and its relentless desire for self-determination. Our journey today is one of rediscovery. We are going to peel back the layers of time and silence to uncover these hidden musical treasures. We will explore the stories behind the lyrics, meet the brave men and women they honor, and understand how these simple melodies became powerful tools of unity and secret communication. This is more than just a musical exploration. It is a quest to reclaim a vital piece of Irish heritage. It is an effort to listen to the echoes of the past and understand how they continue to shape the Ireland of today, a nation whose story is inextricably linked to the power of song. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for more content like this. In an Ireland under strict British rule, openly speaking of rebellion was a dangerous act that could lead to imprisonment or worse. Every word was scrutinized, every gathering watched with suspicion. It was in this climate of fear and suppression that the rebel ballad found its true purpose. It became a form of coded language, a way to communicate forbidden ideas, right under the noses of the authorities. A song about a mythical queen, like Kathleen Ní Houlihan, was understood by every Irish man and woman to be a song about Ireland itself, calling her sons to defend her. These allegorical lyrics allowed a powerful message to be spread in plain sight. These songs were not just sophisticated codes, they were also practical tools for organizing and unifying a scattered and often demoralized people. A new ballad could carry news of a successful raid or the tragic death of a leader from one county to the next with remarkable speed. It served as the underground newspaper of its day, delivering information with an emotional punch that no dry report ever could. When people sang together, they were not just sharing a tune, they were affirming their shared identity and their collective resolve. In that moment of harmony, a scattered group of individuals became a unified front, their voices joined in a singular, powerful expression of defiance. Consider the sheer audacity of this musical resistance. The composers of these ballads were often ordinary people, teachers, farmers, poets, who possessed an extraordinary gift for capturing the spirit of their time. They knew the risks they were taking. Having rebellious lyrics attributed to you could mean a summary arrest and a long journey to a penal colony in some distant corner of the empire. Yet, they continued to write, driven by a powerful sense of duty to their country and its cause. Their names are often lost to history, their creations attributed simply to anonymous, a testament to the selfless and perilous nature of their work as cultural soldiers. The function of these songs, therefore, went far beyond simple entertainment. They were instruments of psychological warfare, designed to keep hope alive in the darkest of times. They reminded people that they were not alone in their struggle, and that their sacrifices were not in vain. For every ballad that lamented a defeat, another celebrated the enduring spirit of the Irish people, promising that the fight would continue. This duality of sorrow and defiance is what makes these songs so incredibly powerful. They acknowledge the pain of the struggle while simultaneously fueling the fire of resistance for the next generation. One of the most poignant examples of a ballad preserving a story that history might have otherwise overlooked is Roddy McCorley. While many have heard the stirring tune, few know the tragic and powerful story of the young man it immortalizes. Roddy McCorley was a young Presbyterian rebel from County Antrim who was executed for his part in the 1798 rebellion. He was not a famous general or a political leader. He was just a brave young man who believed in the cause of a united and independent Ireland, a cause that brought together Catholic, Protestant, and Dissenter under the banner of the United Irishmen. His story could have easily been lost, a mere footnote in a bloody chapter of Irish history. The ballad, however, ensured that his name and his sacrifice would never be forgotten. The lyrics, penned by Ethna Carberry at the end of the 19th century, paint a vivid and heartbreaking picture. They tell of his journey to the place of his execution at Tomb Bridge, describing the swooning heather and the silent crowds who watched their young hero go to his death. The lines, "No one can tell when the end will be, when the blood of the martyrs will set Ireland free," transform his personal tragedy into a universal symbol of the ongoing struggle. The song makes his story immediate and deeply personal, allowing listeners to feel the injustice and sorrow of that day over a century later. The power of Roddy McCorley lies in its ability to connect the listener directly to the past. When you hear the mournful, yet defiant melody, you are not just hearing a song, you are bearing witness to an event. You can almost see the young man walking to the gallows, his spirit unbroken. This is what makes these ballads so much more than historical records. They are emotional time capsules. The song ensures that Roddy McCorley is not remembered as a failed rebel, but as a martyr whose courage continues to inspire. It speaks to a central theme in Irish history, that even in defeat, there is a victory in defiance and sacrifice. Through this ballad, the story of the 1798 rebellion in Ulster and the ideals of the United Irishmen are kept alive. It serves as a powerful reminder that the fight for Irish freedom was not a sectarian conflict, but a movement that sought to unite all the people of Ireland against a common oppressor. The song has been sung at gatherings and commemorations for generations, each performance a renewal of the promise that such sacrifices will not be in vain. It is a perfect illustration of how a simple melody can carry the weight of history, ensuring that the story of a young rebel from Antrim continues to resonate with power and meaning. While many rebel songs are rousing calls to arms, a significant and equally important part of this hidden musical tradition is dedicated to exploring the profound human cost of conflict. These are the ballads of sorrow, the laments for the fallen, and the quiet songs of longing for peace and freedom. They are not about the glory of battle, but about the empty chair at the dinner table, the widowed wife, and the orphaned child. Songs like The Crappie Boy, which tells the story of a young rebel on his way to confession, only to be betrayed and condemned, capture the deep sense of tragedy and injustice that permeated Irish life for centuries. These songs of sorrow served a vital purpose. They provided a space for collective mourning, allowing communities to process their grief and loss in a shared public way. In a time when expressions of Irish nationalism were brutally suppressed, singing a lament for a fallen hero was an act of both remembrance and subtle defiance. It was a way of saying, "We have not forgotten." This blend of deep sadness and unwavering resolve is a hallmark of the Irish rebel ballad. The music may be mournful, but the underlying message is one of resilience. The tears shed while singing were not tears of surrender, but of a promise to endure. Hope, however, is the thread that runs through even the most sorrowful of these ballads. It is a defiant hope, one that persists in the face of overwhelming odds. Many songs look to the future, dreaming of a day when Ireland will be free and at peace. They speak of the rising of the moon or the dawning of the day as metaphors for the coming revolution. This forward-looking optimism was crucial for sustaining a struggle that spanned generations. It gave people a vision to hold on to, a belief that their children or their children's children would one day see the free Ireland they were fighting and dying for. This unique combination of sorrow, defiance, and hope is what gives these songs their incredible emotional depth. They are not one-dimensional propaganda pieces. They are complex expressions of the human experience in a time of great turmoil. They acknowledge the pain and the sacrifice, but they refuse to be defined by it. They mourn the dead, but they do so in a way that inspires the living to carry on the fight. In this way, the ballads transformed personal grief into collective strength, creating a powerful emotional fuel that kept the flame of rebellion burning for centuries, even when it seemed all hope was lost. Well, for centuries, the primary vehicle for preserving and transmitting Ireland's rebel ballads was not the written word, but, the human voice. This was the world of oral tradition, a fragile yet incredibly resilient system of cultural inheritance. These songs, they weren't learned from books or sheet music. They were learned by ear, passed from parent to child, from singer to listener, in the kitchens, fields, and pubs of rural Ireland. Each singer was, in a way, a living library, a custodian of a history that was too dangerous to write down. Keeping these songs alive, it was an act of cultural preservation and, well, a profound act of defiance against an empire that sought to silence them. The risks involved in this tradition, they cannot be overstated. To be caught singing a seditious song could lead to severe punishment. The authorities knew that these melodies were the lifeblood of the resistance, and they went to great lengths to stamp them out. This meant, of course, that the tradition had to go underground. Songs were shared in whispers, taught in secret, and sung only among those who could be trusted. A traveling musician or storyteller arriving in a village was, a significant event, bringing not only entertainment but also new songs and news from other parts of the country, renewing the spirit of communities that felt isolated in their struggle. The very nature of oral tradition meant that the songs were constantly evolving. A singer might add a new verse to commemorate a recent event, or change a line to make it more relevant to their local area. This made the songs living, breathing documents, constantly adapting to the times. While some might see this as a corruption of the original, it was actually the key to their survival. It ensured that the ballads remained immediate and meaningful to each new generation. A song about a rebellion from 1798 could feel as fresh and urgent a century later, because it had been subtly updated by the community of singers who kept it alive. This process of transmission also embedded the songs deep within the cultural DNA of the people. They were not just something you heard, they were something you knew by heart. They were part of the fabric of daily life, sung while working, at celebrations, and at wakes. This deep personal connection is what gave the oral tradition its strength. It was a legacy that could not be burned in a fire or confiscated by soldiers. As long as there was one person left who remembered the tune and the words, the story of Irish rebellion could not be completely erased. The torch was passed, voice by voice, through the darkest of times. When we think of Irish rebellion, our minds often conjure images of male leaders and soldiers. Yet women were the backbone of the resistance, playing crucial roles as organizers, couriers, combatants, and importantly, as the keepers of its cultural memory. Their stories, however, are often relegated to the background. It is within the forgotten rebel ballads that we can sometimes find a clearer picture of their immense contribution. These songs give voice to the mothers, wives, and sisters who endured unimaginable loss, and to the women who themselves took up the cause with fierce determination, their stories immortalized in haunting melodies. One such ballad is The Bold Fenian Men, which, while speaking of men, was often sung to instill courage, and was preserved and passed down by women. More specific, though, are songs that tell the stories of figures like Anne Devlin, Robert Emmet's loyal housekeeper who endured torture and imprisonment rather than betray him. While not as widely known as ballads about male heroes, songs about her steadfastness and courage existed, shared among women as a source of inspiration. They celebrated a different kind of bravery. Not the bravery of the battlefield, but the unyielding strength of loyalty and endurance in the face of brutal interrogation. The lyrics of these songs often reflect a unique female perspective on the struggle. They speak not only of the fight for a nation's freedom, but also of the personal, domestic cost of that fight. There are ballads that take the form of a lament from a wife whose husband has been taken by the law, or a mother's prayer for her son's safety. These songs are raw with emotion, capturing the anxiety, grief, and immense sacrifice that define the lives of so many Irish women. They are a powerful testament to the fact that the war for independence was fought not just on the streets, but also in the hearts and homes of the women who kept the home fires burning. Furthermore, women were often the composers of these hidden ballads. Figures like the 19th century poet Ellen O'Leary, sister of the prominent Fenian John O'Leary, wrote passionate and popular rebel songs, including To God and Ireland True. Her work, and the work of other female writers, added a layer of poetic depth and emotional intensity to the tradition. They ensured that the narrative of rebellion was not solely one of glorious battle, but also one of profound love for country, deep personal loss, and an unbreakable hope for the future. Rediscovering these songs is to rediscover the central role that women played in shaping and sustaining Ireland's revolutionary spirit. In recent years, a new generation of Irish musicians and historians has begun a quiet but passionate quest to unearth these forgotten rebel ballads. They are like musical archaeologists, sifting through old archives, dusty songbooks, and the memories of the elderly to reclaim this lost heritage. Artists like Lancome, Lisa O'Neill, and Dowery Farrell are not interested in simply performing the well-worn standards of Irish folk music. They are drawn to the darker, stranger, and more politically charged songs from the past. They are breathing new life into these old melodies, reinterpreting them for a modern audience and proving that their power has not diminished with time. This revival is not about nostalgia, it is about connection. These contemporary artists understand that the themes at the heart of these old rebel songs, the fight for freedom, the struggle for identity, the resistance against injustice, are as relevant today as they were 200 years ago. When Lancome performs a song like The Young Irelanders, they strip it down to its raw, emotional core, using drones and stark instrumentation to create a sound that is both ancient and startlingly modern. They force the listener to confront the brutal reality behind the lyrics, connecting Ireland's historical struggles to contemporary issues of social justice and political dissent around the world. The impact of this revival is profound. It is reintroducing a whole generation of young Irish people to a more complex and challenging version of their own history. They are learning that being Irish is not just about shamrocks and stereotypes. It is about a long and difficult history of resistance, resilience, and a deep love for culture and language. These songs provide a direct, emotional link to that past. Hearing them performed with such passion and conviction by artists of their own generation makes history feel immediate and personal. It sparks a curiosity to learn more and to understand the forces that shape the nation. Moreover, this modern resurgence is part of a global conversation about the importance of folk traditions. In a world that is becoming increasingly homogenized, there is a growing hunger for art that is authentic, rooted in a specific place and history. The revival of Ireland's lost rebel ballads is a powerful statement about the value of cultural memory. It is a declaration that these stories and the people who live them will not be forgotten. These modern artists are not just singers. They are the new custodians of the oral tradition, using modern platforms to pass the torch to a global audience. Despite the passionate efforts of a new generation of artists, the work of preserving Ireland's hidden rebel ballads is a daunting task, a true race against time. For centuries, these songs were held in the collective memory of communities. But the chain of oral tradition has become perilously fragile. The generation of elderly people who learned these songs by heart in their youth is now dwindling. With each passing, we risk losing not just the songs themselves, but also the unique local variations, the stories behind the lyrics, and the very accent and intonation that gave them their authentic character. These are details that can never be fully captured on a written page. The challenges are immense. Many of these ballads were never written down. They exist only in the memories of a few, in remote rural areas. Organizations like the Irish Traditional Music Archive in Dublin are doing heroic work, sending field workers out with recording equipment to capture these songs before they disappear forever. However, their resources are limited, and the task is vast. It involves building trust within communities, gently coaxing elderly singers to share songs they may not have sung for decades, and meticulously cataloging every recording for future generations of scholars and musicians to study. Furthermore, the context in which these songs were sung is also disappearing. The traditional Irish pub session, the kitchen ceilidh, the community gatherings where these songs were once a central feature, these social spaces have changed. In our fast-paced digital world, there are fewer opportunities for this kind of deep, communal sharing of culture. The preservation effort, therefore, is not just about recording the music. It is also about finding new ways to foster the social environments where this music can thrive. It is about encouraging young people to not just listen to the recordings, but to learn the songs and sing them together. This is where the public has a vital role to play. Supporting cultural organizations like the Irish Traditional Music Archive, attending concerts by musicians who are reviving this material, buying their albums, and simply taking the time to learn a local song are all crucial acts of preservation. It is about making a conscious choice to value this part of our heritage. The future of these ballads depends on us. We must become the new links in the chain of tradition, ensuring that these powerful stories of courage, sacrifice, and the unyielding quest for freedom are not lost to the silence of the past. The forgotten rebel ballads of Ireland are far more than just old songs. They are a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit to resist oppression. They are the unheard anthems of a nation, a secret history written not in ink, but in melody and memory. These songs provided a voice for the voiceless, a language for the forbidden, and a source of unbreakable hope in the face of despair. They transformed tales of defeat into legends of defiance, and ensured that the names of ordinary men and women who made extraordinary sacrifices would echo through the ages. Their melodies are woven into the very soul of Ireland. To listen to these songs today is to connect with that legacy in a deeply personal way. It is to feel the sorrow of the mother who lost her son, the defiance of the rebel facing the gallows, and the unshakable hope for a brighter future. This is not history as a collection of dates and facts. This is history as a living, breathing, emotional experience. The modern revival of these ballads is a powerful reminder that the themes they explore, freedom, identity, justice, and the importance of remembering, are timeless. They speak to our present as much as they do to our past, urging us to question, to remember, and to never take our freedoms for granted. The challenge of preserving this precious heritage is great, but it is a challenge we must meet. By supporting the artists who revive these songs and the archives that protect them, we are not just saving old music, we are safeguarding a vital part of our collective identity. We are honoring the memory of those who risked everything to keep these stories alive. We are ensuring that future generations will be able to hear these voices from the past and draw strength and inspiration from them, just as so many generations have done before. We have a duty to listen, to learn, and to sing them onward. Ultimately, these songs are the enduring heartbeat of Irish courage. They are a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, a simple melody can carry the most powerful story of all. The story of a people who refuse to be silenced. They are not relics of a bygone era. They are a living legacy. They are the soul of a nation, set to music, and their echo will resound for as long as there are voices to sing them and hearts to hear them. The ballads live on, a testament to the fact that the spirit of a nation, once kindled, can never truly be extinguished.